What I'm going to show you today is how to use Korg Monologue as a guitar effects pedal and demonstrate some of the sounds you could potentially get out of it. I think it's a very versatile piece of equipment. It's obviously a synthesizer, so it can make sounds on its own, but it does complement a guitar quite nicely, and it offers something slightly different to a lot of guitar pedals. It's quite a cheap synthesizer. I mean, I picked this one up for £200 from a reputable high street music store, and it's not that much bigger than some guitar pedals that you can get now. It certainly is smaller than my Line 6 Helix, so it fits in reasonably well. So the first thing to know about the Monologue is that it is a 2-oscillator synth with one filter and some modulation capabilities. It's not massively flexible. It's relatively limited as far as synthesizers go, but it still has plenty of options and little tricks up its sleeve to give you plenty of creative possibilities. The audio input that is there is mono, and it's not possible to modulate the oscillators of the synthesizer with that audio input. So basically it mixes in to the output of the mixer section, which is the output of the oscillators, which goes into the filter. But what that means is basically we can take our guitar signal and apply the filter of the synthesizer to it, and that filter can be modulated by a few different things. So there's the envelope of notes that are being played, there's an LFO, and then there's a sequencer. And the sequencer is a 16-step sequencer that can remember the values of each of the different knobs. So basically you can modulate the cutoff and resonance of the filter over each of those 16 steps. There's also a drive parameter which allows you to overdrive the output. So the first thing to think about is that when we're playing guitar, we probably don't want to be having to press keys on the keyboard. But that's where the sequencer of the Monologue comes into play. Okay, so let's hear a bit about how it sounds. I've got Monologue initialized to a blank program, and I've reset all the knobs. So what you're about to hear is just VCO1. VCO2 is turned to 0 volume. The filter is all the way open. That's cut off to the maximum, resonance to the minimum, and the envelope is set with 0 attack, a little bit of decay, and no modulation, and the LFO is turned off. If you hear when we play the guitar, it doesn't come through the Monologue at all. However, if we play a chord, I think we can hear it in there somewhere. If we turn the decay right up, it seems like the guitar is mixed in with the oscillator sound. So let's turn the oscillator volume all the way down in the mixer section and try again. So there we get the guitar coming through the filter of the Monologue. So that's what we want, but we don't really want to have to play the keys. So what can we do? Well, we can use the sequencer of the Monologue. So if we press record, and we get the 16 steps go into flashy mode in step recorder. So if we press 16 notes, sequence all the way through to the end, then we've recorded our 16 steps. So they all light up. We're in note mode on the sequencer. If we press play and turn the oscillator back up, you can hear the 16 steps being triggered. So if we turn the oscillator back down, we know now that the filter is being opened by that oscillator, or by the keys being triggered. And if we play some guitar, we can hear that filter coming on and off and being applied to the audio input. We can use the envelope controls to affect that. And we can use the intensity of the envelope to change the amount of modulation of that filter. If we adjust the cutoff parameter, we adjust where the filter starts from when it opens. And it's worth noting the type parameter on the envelope allows you to invert the modulation if you desire. So that's just giving us a sort of tremolo effect. The tempo is syncable by MIDI, so we can get that synced up. Okay, the next thing we can do is use these buttons to decide which of the 16 steps we actually want to turn on, which means we can get some sort of stuttering effects. So if we apply a little bit of reverb and a bit of drive, it's really sounding quite good. So what you can hear there is the resonance dropping in. So what you heard there was the filter going into a kind of self-oscillating state. You hear this whistling sound. We can use that for creative effects, but generally I guess you want to avoid it if it's not the sound you want. So as well as this, as the sequence is playing through, we can use the LFO. So the LFO is basically a slow oscillator that can modulate the filter. So if we put it in slow mode, pick a waveform that we like, set a rate, and this can be synced to the tempo or it can just be freeform, and then set an intensity, and that's the amount of modulation that you get, and we want to target the cutoff. So for now, we'll set the envelope modulation back to pretty much none. So you can hear now that the modulation of the filter is independent of the steps. And we could go fast as well. And at that speed, we're actually getting some ring modulation type effects. So that's kind of nice. The other thing we can obviously do is use the sounds of the oscillators as a sort of, I guess, a bass or some sort of complementary sounds. And then lastly, it's well worth having a flick through the presets that come shipped with the monologue. Some of these are programmed by Aphex Twin. some of them have got an awful lot of modulation going on, and that's what gets cool. So let's try and find an interesting one. So this is one of the presets called Robot Empire. It's number 10 in the factory list. Let's hear it on its own. So it's quite like a little drum beat. So what happens when I play along? Not a lot. So not a lot happens, and that's because the filter is generally very tight in this patch. The way that the little stabby sounds are being created is with a very small filter. Let's see if we can find a better one. So this is another patch called Boss Hog. It's number 31. Let's hear it on its own. So that's kind of interesting.
So I hope you enjoyed or were inspired by some of the ideas there. If you have a monologue on a guitar and you've never put it before, get on it. Let me know how it goes, what sounds you come up with. If you've got any other synthesizer with some sort of audio input, give it a go. If it's got different routing options, you can probably come up with some pretty cool things. You can probably do this in software. If you've got soft synths or other auto filter kind of things, you could probably go for that. But have fun.